this is Jeff Chartier with SimSamurai.com. Today we're going to review the YoKo Yoke from Virtual Fly in Barcelona, Spain. Emilio of Virtual Fly was nice enough to send me their wonderful YoKo Yoke. This is an incredible piece of industrial hardware. And so, yeah, let's begin. Let's talk about it. Now, first, let me preface this. There are a couple other reviews on YouTube that you're going to want to check out. One by Frugal, one by Air Daily X, and I think a few other people possibly. So, you know, go check out their videos as well, because you definitely want to make an informed decision if you want to purchase this yoke. So, a little bit about me. I am a real-world pilot. I went out and spent a ludicrous amount of money to the tune of about $90,000 to get this little card from the FAA. So hopefully, you know, that maybe that will give me a little bit more, I guess, I don't know, what would the word be? What would the word be? What is it? Oh, that's right. Credibility. Credibility. So, you know, who knows? Anyway, you know, so let's talk about this thing. You know, first of all, just like a real aircraft, this is made out of high quality steel. You know, could be drop forged, cast. I don't think it's machined. It doesn't look machined. Obviously, it's some sort of cast piece of metal. It is one piece, though, just like a real yoke. So I really like that. It's just hollow in the tubes. You know, as far as the case, this is really well built. I think this weighs 9 kilograms, almost 20 full pounds. So, you know, you're going to get a workout doing some curls with this thing, but that's a definitely good sign, because it means that whatever's inside here is not plastic. So, you know, that's definitely good. The yoke shaft is precision ground stainless. It's really nice and smooth. It's a 3/4 inch shaft. It looks like the degree of angle is about 10 degrees on it. You know, so that's good. So it is a little ergonomic, as real aircraft yokes are. The buttons on it are pretty, you know, standard as far as a real aircraft goes. You've got your 2 rockers for your trim switches here, and they are really well built. Or I don't know, you know, where they got them. I'm sure they didn't make them, but bought them somewhere themselves. But they obviously got really good ones, because the spring on it is really nice and tight. You can tell they're going to last a long time. And I'm also impressed with the buttons that they chose to use for your autopilot disconnect and push to talk. Of course, you could reassign these to anything you want. You could assign them to your view cycling, your checklists, as well as your push to talk, whatever you want to do. You know, whether you use their you know, utility or FSUAPC or the, you know, native calibration assignment stuff that the sim has built in. Let's talk about the mounting. It comes with, you know, the standard clip-on style yoke mounting. And this is also really heavy duty and made of metal. It's got some nice foam rubber on it, which is a nice touch to help improve your grip. And it's made, it looks like almost either 3/16 or a 1/4 inch steel. So this is definitely not going to break or bend. This is really solid. That's really nice. Number 2, it comes with these 4 bolts, and this is what I will actually wind up using and really like. And so this is so that you can screw up through your desk and screw into the yoke to mount the yoke that way, so you don't have to use the clip. And now these are about 1 inch, maybe 1 1/4 inches. So for you European fellows, that's about 3 centimeters, and maybe about 3/16 in diameter. These could maybe stand to be a little longer. It depends on what you're mounting to. You know, the most you're going to be able to mount through this is about 3/4 of an inch thickness. So that might be a little bit of a limitation, and you might want to get longer bolts at that same diameter and thread pitch. So let's see, what else can we talk about? Oh, yeah, I did measure the travel on this. It is 9 inches from the yoke surf, or the I guess the yoke face. So you've got 9 inches here, and that's what I call your, you know, your zero or neutral point. And then so from that, you've got about 3 inches full aft pull and about 3 inches full forward pitch. And that's a little bit more than something like the Satec yoke. It's not extreme. Maybe it would have been a little nice to see that just be a little bit longer, but certainly not a detractor. Still feels really realistic and nice. Secondly, let's talk about the roll movement. The roll movement is about 65 degrees to each side. And you can see that. There's the stop there. You can hear it. There's the stop here. Now, it's not a full 90 degrees, as you'll see, or, you know, close to 90, as you'll see in some aircraft. and some other yokes, but that's definitely not a detractor. You can work through that in your calibration and however you want to assign it. And of course, when you're rolling over and doing things like steep turns, once you hit that 45-degree mark or over, and pitch over hard, you can pitch the aircraft just as far as you want to without actually having to move the yoke a full 90 degrees of deflection in either position. So that's not a detractor at all. I just wanted to make a note of it just to show you the limits of travel. And so, that's pretty much it for the mechanicals of it. Again, really heavyweight, very solid and sturdy. You can tell it's well built. This is not going to dent up by any means. This is at least 1/16 thick gauge. I don't know what that equates out to as far as metal gauge, but I think they chose a really nice thickness. Definitely didn't need to be any thicker, for sure. And so I think that's about it. I think we're about ready to take this puppy out for a test flight. So let's get her fired up, and we'll see you in the air. Okay, and here we are, ready to check out the YoKo Yoke. Everything's set up and ready to go. I've got a Cessna 172 panel up, and I'm using my latest little software project called SimCore, which allows you to use a lot of the functions that you normally would via touchscreen or with your mouse, and completely eliminates your need for a keyboard. So I'm just going to minimize this panel real quick down to the front view for a 2D panel. Actually, let's go ahead and let's switch to the virtual cockpit. So I'm going to open up SimCore real quick. I'm going to hit VC right there. We'll get into virtual cockpit. I'll switch SimCore back off, and basically we're ready to go. You can see the controls are working here. I actually configured everything in FSUIPC because I own FSUIPC and use it a lot for all my controller hardware and various switches and stuff. I just find that's the easiest way to do things for me. The YoKo Yoke does come with a really nice driver set and software package to allow you to configure it if you don't have FSUIPC. So they do give you both options, which is definitely great. So let's get started. Actually, I don't have my throttle hooked up yet either. I've got to wire that up because this is that old Satec throttle that came with the original Satec yoke, which thankfully I'm not using for this, and hopefully I'm not going to use anymore because I can already tell I'm just going to really get used to this nice piece of hardware really quickly. So let's get going. Basically, I've assigned everything to the little buttons that are on here, including my mixture, throttle, and flaps. So I'm just going to make sure my flaps are all the way up. I'm going to make sure my mixture's full rich, and let's apply power and take off. All right, instruments are in the green. Oil pressure looks good. Fuel flow looks good. And airspeed's alive. Slowly but surely, we'll get there. So coming up on 50 knots, 60 knots, 65, and let's rotate. Now I did set my response curve to a -4 in FSUIPC, and then also a +4. And you just kind of have to play around with the response curve once you get things dialed in to see what you like and feel comfortable with. For me, I found anywhere between a +2 and a -2 feels pretty realistic. It was kind of hard to pick one for this test, but they both feel good. So, first impressions, I've already flown this just a little bit to check it out after I had gotten things calibrated, and I can only say good things about it. I think this is a wonderful yoke. It just feels really responsive, and the shaft length is really its main selling point. I really think that if you're a real pilot, or even if you're not, you're going to instantly notice the difference between this and any other gaming yoke. It just feels so much better. It's just actually incredible feeling. You've just got such a long travel distance, when you're pitching and pulling aft, that it just feels so much more like the real thing. It's incredible. So I'm really, really happy with that. There's no way they could have done a better job with that. I think the shaft length is near as perfect as you're going to want for flight simulation. Yeah, it feels really good. It's responsive. It feels like the real plane. The tension is nice when you're banking the aircraft left or right. And so let's just play around with it for a second. Let's bust some airspace and get our license pulled here and break a few rules, shall we? I'm gonna put it on the deck for a minute. Red line this little Cessna. Let's not rip the wings off, but we'll get close and try. Yeah, this is nice, even just to fly with one hand. You know, the spring tension's good. It's not too loose, not too tight. You can tell this would be a joy to fly for long hours, and or if you're just doing yanking and banking type of flying and you know, want to do some crazy steep turns or anything of that nature. Tell you what, we're going to go ahead and take a left at this palm tree right here. Yep, that one right there. And head back down towards downtown San Diego. Holding about 130 on the knots. A little above maneuvering speed, but it is simulation. Hopefully she'll hold together. Passing over Torrey Pines glider port here. We're going to take it down and hit Scripps Pier. It's my favorite place to hang out in town. There's the pier. And we'll head over to La Jolla Cove. Doing a little skidding and slipping there. So all right, well, you know, to wrap this up, all I can say is good things. It feels really nice. Again, I think the major selling point for this yoke, aside from the very sturdy construction and the high quality of buttons and rockers that they've put on it, is definitely the shaft length. It's just night and day difference from any other gaming yoke that you'll ever buy. I just can't say enough good things about it. It's wonderful. You know, obviously, again, sturdy, very well made, and you know, once you get it dialed in right with the calibration settings and assign everything the way you want to, which is easy to do in FSUIPC, or obviously you can use their controller and you know, configure it through their software if you want as well. Or you know, maybe try both and see which one you like better. Again, you don't have to use FSUIPC or purchase it if you don't want to, and you can just use theirs. So that's about it. Again, I'm just really happy with this. I'm just going to keep flying here for a minute and zoom down the coast and the 172 here and do a little low-level action on the water. Okay, so I want to stall this for a second. We're a little low to be doing stalls, but I'll pull all the way aft and hold it off. Let's see what she does here. Woohoo! Spin it out a little bit. That's pretty good recovery, about 10 feet off the ground. Okay, that feels good. It's really nice. Again, long stick travel, just like you would feel in the real aircraft when doing a stall and holding it off. So again, no complaints there. Feels great. All right, mixture's full rich. Pull our power out. Land in a runway 9 coming into San Diego here. Do a little side slip. Alright, that's how we do it. At least in flight sim anyway. Like I said, it's okay. I think I broke every rule in the book, but we're just giving this a little shake out and test flight, so no big deal. So that's it. You know, again, I have nothing but good things to say about this yoke. It's extremely well made. Again, the major selling point is definitely the shaft length. As you can see, this is easily, I'd say, a solid 8 inches when I pull this out, and I've actually got another 1.5 inches behind my panel here. You know, that I need a distance for my equipment and stuff. So even given that, I've still got plenty of extra room to move this back and forth, and just feels really natural. Feels very much like the real plane. It really handles nicely. I did carefully configure this and set it up to my tastes in FSUI PC, and so you know, it works well for me and my style of flying. So that's it. Hope you liked the little test flight, and let's get back for the wrap-up. All right, we're back for the post-flight wrap-up. This is a great piece of hardware. What else can I say? As you saw, I was really happy with it while we were flying. Let's talk about little positives and negatives, and you know, make some final comments on this. You know, again, this is just really well made. You can just tell they you know, put their heart and soul into making a good quality product for the flight sim community. The fit and finish on it, it's beautiful, heavy and sturdy. Again, great range of travel. Fore and aft, I didn't feel like I felt like I was limited in any way, like I'd maybe initially talked about some of the range of travel and the pitch and roll angle and stuff like that. Not a detractor whatsoever. And you know, again, the buttons are great. I think they're going to hold up well over time. It feels really industrial quality. And then, you know, lastly, let's talk about the price. This is an expensive yoke. There's no bones about it. But I always say you pay for what you get. I commonly buy tools for my shop that are more expensive than cheap tools, because I've unfortunately found out the hard way that you really do pay for what you get. When you buy cheap, crappy stuff, you can pretty much expect a cheap, crappy experience that's not going to last you very long. I would say the same thing can go with flight sim hardware. You know, you want to save up and buy better stuff. You know, obviously not everybody has the budgets for these kind of things. You know, so you've got to, you know, make that choice yourself. You know, is this for everybody? That's really up to you. If you're a helicopter pilot, definitely not. If you are really into flying jets and the 737, as so many flight simmers love for some reason, then again, you know, this might not be the best yoke for you. But let's say, you know, you fly jets half the time and you like flying other general aviation aircraft some of the time, then definitely this is a yoke for you and you should check it out. Now, as far as any negatives, again, that's subjective. The price, you know, might be a detractor for some, but as I said, you're going to pay for what you get. You know, it's not cheap to make metal products. It's cheap to make plastic products. So when you're getting a yoke of this quality, it obviously costs more simply because the materials used in it cost more, because the quality of the materials in it costs more. And you know, and I think that's really worth paying for. It's a good thing. And again, this is going to last you probably 10 or 20 times longer as any sort of plastic yoke on the market. So, you know, weigh that out over time. That's the same thing I do with my tools. You know, I spend a little bit more money, but then I think I get the benefit in the long run. So that's about it. I don't really have anything else to say about it. I think it's a really good quality piece of hardware, and I think anybody who buys it is going to be happy with it. So I guess that's it from Sim Samurai. Thanks for watching. Please rate and subscribe, leave a comment, and as always, we will see you in the air.